What is elder abuse? Any abuse and neglect of persons aged 60 and older by a caregiver of another person in a relationship involving an expectation of trust. In an article titled Prevalence and Correlates of Emotional, Physical, Sexual, and Financial Abuse, a Potential Neglect in the United States, the National Elder Mistreatment Study, author Ron Acierno cites, 1 in 10 respondents report emotional, physical, or sexual mistreatment or potential neglect in the past year. Even more alarming, the New York State Elder Abuse Prevalence Study found that for every case known to programs and agencies, there are 24 that were unknown. In an article titled Emotional Abuse, an anonymous author states the total number of elderly abuse cases reported in 2010 that were studied by the National Center of Elder Abuse were approximately 6 million. So for every one of the reported 24 were not. That means that in 2010 there were actually 144 million cases. For about 3 years, I worked as a paramedic for a private company. This particular company did a lot of inter-facility transports. What this means is we transported patients from hospitals to nursing homes and from nursing homes to hospitals. Before this job, I had never went into a nursing home. This experience was completely new to me. What I seen time and time again made me sick to my stomach. The elderly parked all over the place in wheelchairs, heads bent over to one side, and drooling on themselves. I heard moans and the elderly calling for help, only to be ignored the majority of the time. I picked up patients all the time that were filthy and covered and soiled from urine and feces. I would insist that the patient be cleaned up before I transported them, and usually met resistance. They would do it, but they were not exactly happy about it. I remember telling my daughters, it is my responsibility to care for my parents, and it will be your responsibility to care for me. It took very little time for me to form the opinion that there was no facility fit for my loved ones. Is there one possibly somewhere? Well, maybe. But let me put this into a better perspective for you. I have probably been in 150 different facilities between 5 different counties, and probably every facility in Manatee County, none of which were fit. So what forms of abuse am I talking about? What are the signs of said abuse, and what can we do to ensure our loved ones are safe? There are 3 different types of abuse I am talking about: emotional, physical, and sexual. According to an anonymous author in an article titled Elder Abuse Definitions, the CDC cites psychological and emotional abuse occur when elder experiences trauma after exposure to threatening acts or coercive tactics. Examples include humiliation or embarrassment, controlling behavior, for example, prohibiting or limiting access to transportation, telephone, money, or other resources, social isolation, disregarding or trivializing need, or damaging or destroying property. Of the different types of elder abuse, emotional or psychological abuse are most common and the hardest to detect. Due to the lack of physical evidence, it is hard to detect this form of abuse. Later, in the article titled Elder Abuse Definitions, the CDC cites physical abuse occurs when an elder is injured. These are our 3 different types of abuse: emotional, physical, and sexual. So the CDC cites physical abuse occurs when an elder is injured. For example, they're scratched, bitten, slapped, pushed, hit, burned, etc. Assaulted or threatened with a weapon, for example, a knife, a gun, or other object, or inappropriately restrained. Of the different types of abuse, physical abuse is the easiest to detect due to the physical signs. In the same article titled Elder Abuse Definitions, the CDC cites sexual abuse is any sexual contact against an elder's will. This includes acts in which the elder is unable to understand the act or is unable to communicate. Abusive sexual contact is defined as intentional touching, either directly or through clothing, of the genitalia, anus, groin, breast, mouth, inner thigh, or buttocks. Now we have discussed these 3 particular forms of abuse. I will explain the different signs associated with each of them. The signs of emotional or psychological abuse are low self-esteem, avoids eye contact, often seems hopeless, disturbed or scared, seems withdrawn, depressed or shy when normally they are outgoing, may display a desire to hurt themselves or others, sudden changes in eating or sleeping patterns, and mood swings. The signs associated with physical abuse are unexplained signs of injury, such as bruises, welts, or scars, broken bones, sprains or dislocations, broken eyeglasses or frames. Signs of being restrained, such as rope marks on wrist, or a caregiver who refuses to allow you to see the patient by yourself. Lastly, the signs associated with sexual abuse: bruises around breast or genitals, unexplained venereal disease or genital infections, unexplained vaginal or anal bleeding, and torn, stained, or bloody undergarments. We now know the three forms of abuse at hand and their individual signs. What can we do to ensure our loved ones stay safe? Well, first and foremost, we should care for them ourselves. Yes, I know we all have lives, families, bills, and obligations. It's called loyalty. Loyalty for the ones we love and the ones who cared for us and loved us. Our parents went without. They sacrificed their own needs and wants and worked countless hours to ensure we had the best care. For those of you fresh out of high school, now's the time to get your priorities straight and work to obtain a future that allows you to care for your loved ones. This might mean no new car, no extravagant home, or any lavish vacations, but keep in mind they went without as well. I know it is not always that cut and dry. Things come up in life that change our goals. With that being said, there are other steps we can take. Do your research before deciding on a facility. Demand records showing any reports of abuse. Check with the state in regards to a particular facility. Check the Better Business Bureau. Ask friends about their knowledge regarding a particular facility, and use the social media outlets for feedback. Visit the facility regularly. Have friends and family help with visitations. Secretly install a nanny cam in the patient's room. Be very involved in your loved one's care. Talk with the doctor, the staff, and check the patient's medications to make sure that they are receiving them correctly. Lastly, examine your loved one regularly for signs of abuse. I have explained the three forms of elderly abuse associated with nursing homes and the signs of that abuse. I have given you different ideas for ensuring your loved one's safety. According to an anonymous author in an article titled Statistics Data, elders who experienced abuse, even modest abuse, had a 300% higher risk of death when compared to those who had not been abused. At the end of the day, my hope is that you will do your best to make sure that you are the one that cares for your loved ones. I know for me, it will not be a matter of what I should do. It will be my honor to return the favor for a job well done. Let's face it, no one will love them more than you do. Thank you.